Hey there, everybody. So, we are working on potting up some individuals right now. This is Fetimus spurius, Fetimus spurium. I'll put it on the screen for you in case I mispronounced or misspoke. But this is two-row stone crop or Caucasian stone crop for some common names of it. It used to be classified as Sedum spurium, and this is a running or a prostrate running clumper. And so you may see that kind of phrase thrown about or some kind of combination of those few words. Just a quick note, this is obviously not its natural habitat. We are just splitting them apart and making new babies so that other people can grow these new babies and have a beautiful garden that helps out the pollinators with, while not, native plants, at least plants that play very nicely in a naturalized state with the local ecosystem. And so this is Fetimus spurium. And don't worry, these are loosely packed in. What that means when I say a prostrate running clumper is that last year, probably part of this, although likely down here, was like this guy sticking up out of the dirt, and then under the weight of its own glory, it fell over, and then all along that main stem not only grew roots, but also new upward shoots that will then fall over and repeat the process. And what they'll look like, if you'll allow me to dunk this really quick, is you'll get these really crazy groupings of different root pieces. But if you look very, very, very closely at something like this, you will see tiny, tiny little individual nodes, almost like hairs. It does feel like a fuzzy texture. You can almost make them out on the edge of this leaf here. So each of those little bumps has the potential, if my phone would focus, there you go. Let's get this finger dirty so you can see it. So those little bumps will turn into small roots, which will then turn into something like that. And so they're a great plant to practice with if you're new to splitting plants. These guys are very forgiving to novice gardeners, and they send up just some really awesome, pretty flowers, little pads. I'll show you another one that grows similarly, but is different. This one here is Sedum sarmentosum, and is the stringy stone crop. But the Fetimus has a similar pad of flowers to this, and the little baby one you can see down towards the surface of the soil in the pot. Except Fetimus is bright pink and kind of polka dotty. I'll try to remember to link here in the top corner to a little getting to know you for Fetimus so you guys can see those flowers if you're interested. So one thing to note is that both of those stone crops that I just showed you can be termed invasive by some folks, but I don't. It's always dependent on location, and just be sure that whatever source you're looking at when they are describing invasive, find out how they're actually using invasive. Sometimes they are fast and loose with what definitions are, but let me show you what I mean when I say it's not really that bad. So this here is some Fetimus, and Some sites, some locations, some publications will claim that it's a very invasive plant, but it's really just an opportunistic spreader. Will it overtake something like very weak, very, very not cool? Yeah, sorta. But, I would not say that phlox is necessarily, especially, meadow phlox, or alpine phlox rather. You can tell because of the needly leaves. I would not consider this kind of phlox a terribly aggressive plant. It's a very slow grower. But you can see that the Phedemus is playing pretty nicely with it. It's spread a little bit, but I've also got a few black cherries, and there's definitely some lily of the valley that have made their way through. So it doesn't really impede plants, particularly where this is such a shallow rooter. It's something that if you're planning to use it in your garden, you can plant other things that are using different layers of the soil profile. So if I lift this up, all of those roots are within, the first few centimeters of the soil line. It might be like a half an inch to an inch at most. So you could plant something that uses a different layer in the soil profile and be perfectly fine. That other plant will pop up right in between the strings of this and keep going, especially if it's woody. But, it's not like it's overtaken the phlox, which is not nearly quite so vigorous if you let it be. So, yeah. Side note, both of these playing very, very nicely under one of our honeyberry bushes. This is Lonicera ceruleae, the hascap. And this is indigo treat, if I remember correctly. And they are definitely ripening up. These guys are still... Oh, it's so soft. These things are pretty much ready. So, nice big crop on them. I'm going to have a nice little snack today. And probably see about an air prune box that would like to receive a nice little bounty of seeds to it. I might even have one ready to go. So, anyway, stone crop, a prostrate, meaning it lays down and then roots. A prostrate running clumper. I hope the language lesson kind of helps you determine what kind of things you can play with when it comes to the plants as you see them described in some of the garden blogs, sites, things like that. One last thing, I'll show you guys what I'm doing to pot them up, and then we'll call it a thing. So if you've already got this, all you really have to do, if you want it in a new location in the ground, I'll show you. Go like that. Go like that. Go like that. You're done. You've planted Phedemus, and it's going to go. Probably. You might want to water a little bit, but literally just that. You could use your foot if you've got it, gently positioned. I wouldn't put your foot like straight across, but like, and done. Easy peasy. If you're looking to pot some up for friends or family, what you would want to do is come in and identify the spots at the growth node that you can cut from. So I could come in with a pair of snips and take here, and then here, and then here. But you can do it with, a thumbnail. Nick. Done. That's one. Come in here. Nick. That's two. Right there. That's three. Or you could act like a professional and just snip. And so each of these can get potted up. This guy's going to have a whole lot of root, and so it's going to push out for way more leaf material to try and catch up and keep photosynthesizing. But we have a few more to do. I'm going to go through this and give it a similar treatment and stick them in some pots. Maybe some that are like that. Maybe some that are like this. Give you a little size comparison. So something like that. And we could, divide that less and give people the option of taking home something that's a little bit more established for itself. But these guys will just get, a week or two in these pots and these pots so that they root out and that they perk up. And we can feed them a little bit. They'll get watered in and mulched soon. And new plants. So get out there. Cut up a plant. Make new plants. Go do it. Till next time. Thanks for watching. Happy planting.